Okay, so now you should have 25 rows of single crochet in the back loop only. And that's what it will look like for your fabric. And you can see that it has the beautiful ridges here. And we're ready to seam this together. So now what we want to do is seam together the two short sides. And so you just put these sides together. It doesn't really matter which side faces which way. And what we want to do is go through each side under the first stitch, through like so. Pull that through as a slip stitch. Now go through on both sides, catching both sides of the V on each one. Go under and slip stitch. We're creating a nice smooth seam like so. And you want to double check that you're keeping everything pretty much lined up, and go through on both sides. Be sure you're catching each. Try not to split any of the yarn. Not a single crochet, but just a slip stitch all the way across. And do it kind of loosely, so this isn't going to be a real tight seam. You want to have it nice like so. And get everything so it's even on the end. And there we go. And then one chain, and there we have our seam. Now, what you want to do is just pull this the other way so the seam is on the inside of your pumpkin, and there's where we are. Can't really tell too much about where it was. All right, now what you want to do is take maybe a couple feet of yarn, cut the yarn, and then pull through to just fasten it off. Okay. Then taking your yarn needle, you want to put that through, and probably a little more than we need. I'm going to trim off some of that yarn. And then we're going to gather up with a running stitch all around the top to make that closed. So here we are, and we're just kind of going to go in and out through the top stitches of each row. And back and forth. And right along the top. Until we get back to where we had our seam. And it really blends in so well. You gotta just really kind of feel your way with your fingers. And then what you want to do is gently pull that totally closed. You can see the opening. Just keep pulling until it's closed. And then what I do is kind of crisscross across the top of the opening too, just to be sure that we get it closed. Kind of different directions. kind of pull that tight. Like such. Okay, then we're just going to leave it like that. And now this is going to be the base of our pumpkin. And now we want to take polyester fiber fill, and we're going to stuff that in, and it's going to take more than you ever really think that it's going to, but you want to stuff that inside. Like so. And we'll use all of this up. Okay, you don't want it flying out, but you want it stuck pretty much. Now, remember that we had the end of our yarn. We're going to bring it all the way up through the fiber fill. And then we're going to come into the sides of this opening and do our running stitch once again along the top of each of the rows. Okay. And just pull my yarn out of my needle, so we'll rethread. And our running stitch all the way around. Like so. Okay, you can see how that's nice and stuffed, and we'll pull that nice and snug. And maybe a couple more. Pull it till it's nice and closed, and then go across that opening, different directions. And one more. Now, you could leave it like this, but I like it when it's kind of pushed in like so on both top and bottom. So what I'm going to do is go right down through the middle and come out right as much in the center of the bottom as I can. Pull that pretty tight, and then kind of cross the middle, come through the fiber fill and up into the top of this side, and do that 2 or 3 more times. And you can see how it starts having that indentation at the top and at the bottom. Do it a couple more times here. Pulling it nice and tight. just going to do a knot here at the top. Make an actual knot and go through and come up just anywhere on the side like such. And then I'm going to trim it off and kind of fluff everything. And you can see how that gets kind of a round pumpkin-y look. So that's how you actually make the main part of the pumpkin itself. And then I'm going to show you how to do the I-cord for the stem. This is Chris Long at Lakeview Cottage Kids.